Everybody, we got a special Monday show. We are going to be doing. I am Izac with Fun Football Podcast, and me and Mike Essen are going to be doing a special Monday top 10 receivers of all time. We did quarterbacks earlier this season. It was quarterbacks, right? Okay. Right. Med, unfortunately, is not feeling well. He's under the weather. So it's just me and Mike, but we're going to bring you guys our top 10 receivers ever. I tried to be unbiased, but yes, a Packer made my list, but I think it's fairly justified. Maybe a couple, we'll see. But we're going to give you guys our top 10 receivers. And what I want you guys to do during the comments, I'm going to spread this all over social media. If you have a debate or you have a receiver that you want to bring up or your list, I want you guys to drop it in the comments, okay? But really quick, before we get going, I got some sponsor stuff. But before I do that, Mike, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Isaac. It's a pleasure to be back. I love it. I had a blast last night. I had a blast today.
Well, we'll have to do running backs next year. How's that sound?
I'd love it.
Yeah, we'll do that in February or March. That'd be fun. And then we could do tight ends around this time next year again.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And hopefully, I'm hoping we can get JB on next time. I know he's really busy. So
he's excellent.
He's so good. We I don't know if you caught it. We had Quentin Jammer on Friday night.
I will watch it. I saw the coach. Man. I thought the coach from William and Mary. That was a great show.
That was legit. We've had a Packer, professional Packer podcaster on and reporter and that's just in a few weeks. We got a Titans an old Titans player. He does ESPN radio in Nashville. Blaine Bishop, he's going to be coming on in September. I've got another huge Packer podcaster coming on in a few weeks. I've got a fantasy show tomorrow night, fantasy show next week. That's all my stuff. How about you? What do you have coming up?
I don't have a particular show at this time, but I'm looking into it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm happy
as it goes.
I'm happy you're here, man. So, okay, guys. So here's what we're going to do. Let me blast this really quick, and then we're going to give you guys our top 10 receivers from 10 up to 1. This is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to, if you're cool with it, I'm going to drop Med's list as well, because I think it'll be a lot of fun. But I like these types of episodes because it's cool to look back and honor some of the greats. And one thing I want to ask you is, do you see any current, before we get going, do you see any current receivers that are playing right now? Do you see any having a chance to make it onto your top 10 list and most people's by the time their careers are over?
I think one will make it in the top 5, Justin Jefferson. This man is a Randy Moss, who I'll talk about later, incarnate. He can jump, he can run, he's quick, he's elusive, he has great hands. And statistics are showing that he's almost unguardable at this point.
I like it, man.
I thought Cooper Kupp was going to be a few years ago, but he slacked off a lot.
The other guy I'm wondering if he could, I don't think Mike Evans will get there, unfortunately, as great as he is. And Tyreek Hill had a moment, but I don't think he'll get there either. The one other guy I could see having a chance is Jamar Chase. Maybe.
I was thinking about him. I was thinking runner-up or maybe top 15 or top 17. Top 10, it's possible if he has better years than he's had so far.
Then when I made the video on social media before we get into our top 10s, I was asking people if they thought any of the young guys could have a chance. Like Marvin Harrison didn't have the best rookie season, but he still has a high pedigree. Ooh, I like this question. I'm going to hit Sports SP's question in a second. That's a good one. But I was asking about Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. because they had special rookie seasons. So did Ladd McConkey. I got to see more. Obviously, they're all only 1 year in. But I'm wondering if any of these guys will have that. Because what made like a Marvin Harrison and a Tim Brown special was they had 1,000-yard seasons like Chris Carter and Jerry Rice was they did it for 8, 9, 10 plus years consecutively. Mm-hmm. So, okay, we got a question before we hit our top 10. Randy or Megatron more talented?
I would say Randy because of his speed, but that's a great question. But I'll get into a little bit of that later because
I like that. That's good. That's a good question, man. I like that one a lot. Okay. So for anybody watching, we're going to start dropping our lists, and we're going to do a little bit back and forth. Do you want me to drop Med's list now, or do you want me to drop it later?
Later.
Okay, we'll hit Med's at the end. It's kind of similar to mine. Okay, let's start at number 10. I'm going to kick it to you, and we can go back and forth on these, okay?
Number 10 is Steve Largent. This man, 1989, when he retired, broke the 50-year record of Don Hudson for 100 touchdowns. He broke the receiving and receptions yards. He had 11 Pro Bowls. He was not athletic, but he had hands like glue and ran great pass patterns and made up for it. In his day, when there was less protection of the wide receivers, he was a superstar.
Oh, absolutely. He was awesome. I almost put him in my top 10. He actually didn't make the cut. He was so close. He had 8 seasons. I had to I had to watch some tape and I had to look at the stats. And I ended up going the historic route, even though Largent played in the 70s and 80s. He was special, 13,000 yards. I didn't realize he compiled that much. 100 touchdowns. He had 8 seasons over 1,000 yards. He had another season at 912. The dude was even early on when he wasn't cracking 1,000 yards. His second season, he had 10 TDs in an era where throwing was you threw for 300 yards. That was a special day back then.
Yes, it was rare.
I couldn't quite get there. He gets an honorable mention for me. If there was 11 guys, he would have been my 11th guy.
So we're close.
And Reggie Wayne gets an honorable mention, and there's a few other receivers that I really like. I was always a big Torrey Holt fan, and Steve Smith, and Izac Bruce actually did not make my top 10.
He'd be top 15 or top 20, not top.
Yeah,
10.
yeah, he was close. I almost did it. I had to go Don Hudson. It's just because of I know his stats aren't anything special, but the era he played in, and I just feel like he kind of made the prototype. He gave you the prototype, like what a receiver could be. And the dude had 17 TDs in a championship winning season for the Packers in the 40s when you could just rip dudes to the ground. He still had 60 TDs. He had almost 8,000 yards in an era where not only the receivers had difficulty, but the dude was so ahead of his time. I feel like in today's era, he'd be getting like 1,700 yards in a season. I feel like he could play in any era like Largent. That's another thing why I went with him. And it was part of it was the Packer thing, but I tried to get off of that. He won he won 2 titles, but that 1942 season was pretty special. He had over 1,200 yards, 17 TDs, 74 receptions at the time was a huge number in only 11
That's
games.
Babe Ruth style numbers. I think that's amazing, for that time.
Oh, and they only played 11 games that season. There was he never played more than 12 games in a season, so cracking 1,000 yards.
Imagine he played 16 or 17, exactly.
Yeah, to get 1,200 yards.
Is your number 10, just to clarify?
Yeah, so I've got Don Hudson number 10. It was a really tough cut for Largent. I was between those two dudes, but I had to go with Hudson, man. It was tough though. I almost did Steve Largent. I was like right there. But in the end, and that was actually, let me see. Let me check out Med's list really quick. Med had Don Hudson as well at number 10.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah. So I like these things. We're going to have to do a defensive one in the future. Maybe we'll cut to like an edge rusher one next year. Okay. Absolutely. So number 9, what you thinking?
Marvin Harrison Sr. I'll tell you why.
Ooh.
4 times this man had over 100 catches. He had 8 Pro Bowls. And in the year 2006, when Peyton Manning finally won a championship, he was a major part of that team. NFL Films took him. I don't agree with this, but they took him above somebody else who was on my list, the top receiver in the 2000s. I think the other receiver was better, but I can't say it was a terrible choice. This man was consistently running pass routes, dominating, beating players. He gave New England a hard time, and that's even though New England didn't have the best defense in the world, they were very good under Belichick. That's saying a lot, but I think very few people could have covered him. I'm saying Marvin Harrison is my 9th pick.
You know what's funny is the episode with Quentin Jammer, he was saying that Marvin Harrison was one of the toughest covers that he had because he played in that era with Marvin Harrison. Mm-hmm. And he actually locked up Randy Moss in the playoffs. He only had like 10 yards against Jammer, but he said that Marvin Harrison was one of his toughest covers.
I can believe it.
Harrison's actually even higher on my list. So just a little preview for you. He's actually even further up. I actually went a different route here. It's not a Packer. And you're probably not going to like my 9 and 8, but I went with Tim Brown. The reason why—
He was runner up for me, but go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why was the longevity, man. He played till he was almost 40, but the dude for 9 straight seasons had over 1,000 yards. He's one of a very few receivers in NFL history to do that. Mike Evans is another. I believe Jerry Rice and Marvin Harrison are, I think those are the only ones, because Randy Moss and Terrell Owens didn't do it. I think Calvin Johnson may have. That's a short list. And he's one of the all-time greatest Raiders ever. 100 touchdowns in his career, just shy of 15,000 yards. He was 66 yards away. Like one more decent game. He was still great into his mid-30s. I love that. But the dude was, I feel like everything you want in a receiver. He got to be with that team long enough that the Raiders were prominent again with Rich Gannon, and when they had Jerry Rice, it was
they made the Super Bowl that year, 2002. They lost to the Buccaneers. They lost big time to them, but they went there.
That Bucs defense was stupid good, though, man. I mean,
with
they
Warren
were good.
Sapp, Derek Brooks, Rondé Barber, man.
You know what's funny is I didn't realize this when I talked about. I was talking about the 2000 or the 99 Rams, greatest show on turf, and I totally forgot that the 99 Bucs defense held that Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce still in his prime, and Torrey Holt ascending. That offense with Orlando Pace at tackle, they held them to 11 points, but they just couldn't score in that conference championship. So the Bucs
I remember that.
The Bucs defense was legit for a few years. They were good for a minute. But yeah, I know he didn't get a ring. I love when receivers can do that, but I can't hold it against some of the guys on the top of my list because, you know, Moss didn't get one. Owens didn't.
Largent didn't get one.
Largent, Fitz didn't get one. Rice is one of the only guys that got one, actually. It's such a tough thing because the receivers can make such a difference, but if you don't have the right QB play and defense, it doesn't matter.
Right, it's team sport, and you have to have the right quarterback, you have to have the right line, and you have to have the whole package. But Tim Brown, Chris Carter, Paul Warfield, and Michael Irvin were my honorable mentions.
Warfield was another one that almost made my list. Chris Carter actually did make mine. I was basing it on a lot of guys that I did watch play growing up, so it might have been a little biased, but I was looking at other lists and I saw a lot of similar names. So my number 8 is a Packer, and I know it's a biased pick, but I feel like his prime is pretty unparalleled, and he just made the Hall of Fame. And I mean, his brother at Shannon's Hall of Fame speech, he said Sterling was the better player, and that's saying a lot coming from Shannon. His prime was pretty special, and it just got cut short. This was a homer pick, but I feel like he's the best Packer. His best is the best I've ever seen a Packer receiver play, and we've actually had some pretty damn good receivers. I went with Sterling Sharp. He actually made Med's list as well. Med had him at number 9, and Med had Paul Warfield at number 8. Actually,
that's amazing. Yeah, we're all pretty much around the same boat. Except I wouldn't put Sterling Sharp in mine. I want to explain why. I'm not taking away from his greatness in the field.
No, I get it.
It's like Gale Sayers, Bo Jackson, Terrell Davis. They didn't play long enough for me to compare people with whole careers. So when I do running backs, I put them in a separate category.
You know what's funny with Bo Jackson too is he never actually. I know he dominated 2 sports and he was athletically gifted, but he actually never even cracked 1,000 yards as a rusher. Isn't that crazy?
He came close because he played 9 games, but he actually came close once, and he still made the Pro Bowl. That was amazing. If he played his whole career in football for a whole career, I think he'd be better than Brown, Sanders, Peyton, or any of them.
I think so too, especially if he just committed to one sport, because playing baseball and football, that took it out of him.
It did. It tore him crazy, and he also was a great track star. I'll mention my number 8.
Yeah. So what's yours?
Lance Allworth. They called him Bambi.
Nice.
For those of you who may not know who I'm talking about, this guy played for San Diego. He was more of a threat maybe to his team than Antonio Gates and Kel Winslow Sr. were later. This is the AFL. I know it was past Happy League, but they had 14 games then. He had 7 seasons with 1,000 yards. This was when it was not very common. 7 All-AFL Pro Bowls and a 1,602 1,602-yard reception season in 1965, which was unheard of at the time. That would be like 23,000 yards today, just to be a little. I mean, this guy was graceful. He was quick. He was unguardable. He was a better version of Paul Warfield, I thought, which is why he made it. Paul Warfield slightly got under the cut. I like Allworth.
Oh man, I mean those stats. It's not just that, but if you watch tape on this guy, 85 touchdowns in most of his prime was he kind of tailed off in the 70s, but through the 60s, man, he did that for 7 straight seasons. And you're right, they had 14 games, which makes it like Hudson. You got to weigh that, like playing only 10 or 11 games. I mean, what's crazy is Allworth actually did that. One season he missed in 67. He only played 11 games, only 50 receptions, and he had 1,000 yards. This guy was crazy. 23 yards per catch. 23 yards per catch in 1965, 20.2 in 64, and then he had over 19 yards per catch in 2 other seasons. That's nuts, man. To average that per catch.
Yeah, so even if it's past Happy League, what they have today, back then it was unheard of. Charlie Hennigan for the Houston Oilers, the team doesn't exist anymore, had 2 great seasons, but he didn't have 7 like Allworth. Allworth was amazing. I'm surprised I didn't pick him higher, but I thought there were 7 players better.
Man, yeah, no, I almost went with Warfield. I almost did, but I just couldn't quite get there. It was close though. He almost made my list. Who's your number 7, man?
Terrell Owens. Now, he's higher than everybody else's, and I'm taking nothing away from him. He's great, but I just don't know who of the 6 I would pick earlier to take off. This guy was a model of consistency. He's a third-time yardage leader. And I'm third-time all-time in yards.
Mm-hmm.
He had 1,300 one year, 1,400 another, 13, 14. And he had one game, he had like 20 or 22 or 23 catches. He was a more consistent than Steve Large, I thought, more athletic and better, which is why he's 3 ranks higher. What do you think?
Well, I had him just a little higher than you, but not as high as a lot of people do. I used to have him as 3rd on my list, but then I was looking at it and I was thinking about if I had a dude for a career, would I rather have, and I'm spoiling the top of my list, but would I rather have a Fitzgerald or would I rather have a Terrell Owens? As dominant as Owens was, and I love that he showed up in the Super Bowl, my problem with Owens is that you couldn't always count on him and he blew up teams, and that bothers me. Moss quit on one team as well, but Owens flamed out in multiple organizations and was I love him because he was so talented, but he took the diva thing a little too far. I wish he hadn't because the talent was immense. If this dude had been even more locked in and less it may have given him fuel that made him as great as he was. But if he'd been just a little more of a model citizen and not blown up the teams, I would have ranked him even higher because you're right. The talent's there. I mean, dude, I was kind of shocked. He was only a 6-time Pro Bowler. That's kind of nuts to me because when you look at his stats, I almost feel like people didn't vote him on purpose because they were tired of him. He had over 1,000 yards in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons. That's freaking nuts. He actually never cracked 1,500 yards. He cracked 1,400 twice, 153 touchdowns. What, dude? That's
you always find him in the end zone, whether it's Jeff Garcia, Steve Young, or Elvis Gerback. They found them.
Yeah, and then in Dallas with Romo, and then even that last season in Cincinnati, he had almost 1,000 yards and 9 TDs that last year in Cincinnati, and he didn't even play the full season. Dude was ridiculous. He's a little bit higher on my list, just a little bit. At number 7, I have. Take a look. I have Chris Carter. Here's why. Walter Payton Man of the Year, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler consecutively too. I always like when I see consistency. He never got that ring, but you can't blame him for that. He took a little.
I blame Gary Anderson actually.
I mean, for real, that's why he took a little while to develop in his career, and I'm not bothered by it. Like Philly got some guys, I mean, he had 11 TDs in 89, but he never cracked 1,000. That's not the bowling parameter, but he never got to 1,000 yards until 93 when he was in his late 20s. Then he was a late bloomer because what his next 8-year run, 1,000 yards and at least 7 TDs in all those seasons up until 2000 is pretty unparalleled. 130 touchdowns, almost 14,000 receiving yards. To be honest, I mean, NFL Network had him with the best hands in NFL history, and I think that's other than Fitz, him and Largent and Fitz. That's the three I think that had the argument for the best hands. Dude was just absurdly talented. I remember especially once they got Moss, I hated playing them because they had 2 bona fide number 1 receivers. Even after Moss came, his numbers went down a little, and he was still getting over 1,200 yards. Just a special player with awesome hands, good route runner. I love that he played most of his career in Minnesota.
In fact, he had 122 catches 2 years in a row, didn't he?
Yeah, 94, 95 he did. Amazing. That is pretty sweet. One of only 4 players to get it twice. Wes Welker, Antonio Brown, Michael Thomas. Most games with at least 12 receptions in a season. 4. He had 12 receptions in consecutive games. Only him and Clark Gaines and Jerry Rice. These are some of his NFL records, or career notables, actually. What else has he got? Most consecutive seasons with at least 5 touchdowns, 11. Only Frank Gore, Tim Brown, Don Hudson, Harrison, Jerry Rice, and Owens have done that.
This man was amazing.
And check this out. 150-yard receiving game in 3 different decades. Only Jerry Rice has done that. He did it in the 80s, 90s.
This is the Iron Man we're talking about. Who needs Brett Favre and Cal Ripken?
Yeah, you know? For real. Like some pretty
no offense,
good stuff.
No, you're a Packer fan, Isaac. No offense.
Well, I'm hoping we can get a receiver in the building because we haven't had one since Devontae. Like, they're not bad, but it's I miss the days of Jordy Nelson and Devontae. I'm hoping Matthew Golden can bring that back a little bit. Okay. So mine, let me check. Where are we at?
We're 6.
Okay. My number 6 is a guy you mentioned earlier. Any guesses?
Marvin Harrison.
Yeah. Yeah, he almost made my top 5. The reason why was, dude, this guy and Peyton, if it wasn't for Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, I think they'd be the best quarterback receiver combo ever. And his son, I'm hoping he develops, but he was a 3-time first team All-Pro, won a Super Bowl, 5-team second team All-Pro. So 8 times he made first or second team All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, 2-time receiving yards of the leader of the NFL, 99 and 02. 2 times he led the league in receptions. Dude, this guy was just awesome. Like, such a good route runner. And what I like about him and Brown, unless I'm remembering it incorrectly, and Carter could be a little mouthy, but these dudes were just like model, like, you teammates. You'd want them on the team. That was something I just couldn't go any further down with Owens. But Marvin Harrison, I feel like, kind of like Carter and Tim Brown, he got the absolute most he could possibly get out of himself. And that was almost 15,000 yards and almost 130 touchdowns. Him and Peyton, man, that was special.
I agree with you about if Montana and Rice weren't the greatest duo, they would be up there. Some people put them higher because they played longer, but I still can't. I'm a huge fan of both those guys, Montana and Rice. So I can't.
I understand. I understand.
But Harrison was great.
Who's your number 6?
Megatron Calvin Johnson. Now, here's the thing.
Okay.
He played 9 seasons, but if Jim Brown could make my list of running backs, I won't tell you the number because I'm back talking about that. And Mahomes made my list of quarterbacks with 8 seasons. Calvin Johnson certainly can make it with 9. He had 8 Pro Bowls in those 9 seasons. Mm-hmm. He had 1 season with 1,942 yards. 64 yards, I apologize. 1,964 yards in 2012, almost 2,000. If he would have broke those 2,000 yards, you never hear the end of it. Cooper Kupp almost did the same thing. This man, they used to triple, double team him, and he said they still couldn't stop him. I wish he would have played a whole career because he'd be higher, but I have put 5 people above him because I think they were a little more accomplished, but I take nothing away from this magnificent, great specimen who I would never want to be upset because didn't pick him higher. I would tell him, Calvin, you're number 1. He's huge.
He's actually even higher on my list. And I know his prime wasn't as great, or his prime wasn't as long, and he didn't win a ring, but I don't care. I had him higher.
No.
So that's let's recap really quick. So my number 10 was Hudson, Brown, Sharp, Carter, and then Harrison Sr., Marvin Harrison Sr. That's my 10 through 6. What was your 10 through 6?
Steve Largent is number 10. Marvin Harrison Sr. is number 9. Lance Allworth is number 8. Terrell Owens is number 7. And Calvin Johnson is number 6.
I like it. All right, let's break into our top 5. What's your number 5, sir?
I'm going back to the past now. Raymond Berry. This is a pick. It's a little controversial, but I stand by it. Please remember, in the old days, they only threw the ball when it was third and long. This man was clutch it's more clutch than Drew Pearson. As good a hand as Steve Largent, maybe almost as good as Chris Carter. He won the Triple Crown in 1959. He had 6 Pro Bowls. He retired with the most receptions and receiving yards at the end of his career. In 1960, when they had 12 games, he had 1,298 yards, which was less of a passing system than Lance Allworth had. This man was not quick like Steve Largent. He was not athletic, but boy did he make up for it. When they played the greatest game ever, Izac, in 1958 against the Giants, he was a major part of that win. I mean, Amici got the last run, but he was a major part of it. I have nothing but the utmost respect for Raymond Berry. He's actually one of the few players who wasn't a bad coach. It was really good, but that's a different story. I think Raymond Berry number 5.
Yeah, he wasn't a bad coach for a minute. I don't know why he waited so long to coach. He was out of the NFL for, I'm sure that's super weird. He didn't coach until the 80s. He wasn't a bad coach, though. He had a winning record. He had a winning record in 4 of his 5 seasons. Got him to the Super Bowl, the Pats in the 80s. Yes. Got him to the playoffs twice. It's pretty solid.
What do you think
but as a player, I didn't have him here, but he was someone I thought of. I think he'd be in my top 20. I probably should have had a couple older guys. That's why I put Hudson in there. But Barry, what he did in he won 2 championships. But what he did in 59 and then 60 was some stuff that you just don't see other than Hudson. And it was starting to show like what receivers could do to get over almost 1,300 yards in 12 games. You're averaging over 100 yards a game, 10 touchdowns.
See, that's the thing you got to look at, Izac. If he played today with 17,
but the 14 TDs the season before that,
market, he'd be in 5 in almost a lot of people's lists. It was hard. I had to aggregate the time for the great receiver.
Yeah, and the era they played in, and it's so difficult to take those guys from when he played in the 50s and 60s. It's so hard to take them and figure out how good they would have been today stacking up against these guys, because some of them are more athletic, but it's so are the defenders too. It's so difficult, and we're in a passing era now, but it still is. There's still some damn good defenses even nowadays that are special and hard to throw the ball on. Denver's going to be tough this year. So
they'll get Holmes a little.
Denver, KC, that's and the Chargers. That's going to be a fun division.
That's a division to watch.
So number 5 for me was Terrell Owens, and I almost went higher, but here's the thing. I couldn't go any lower. I know he blew up teams, but I still respect the fact that he came back in that Super Bowl in 2004 and had 120 yards on it might still have been a broken foot. And even the 2002 playoffs with the 49ers, he had just in 2 games, he had over 200 yards. So the dude did show up when it was necessary in the playoffs. I don't love how he blew up teams. That did bring him down a little bit. And I think it does in people's eyes as well, not just me. But the talent and the production are undeniable. To have over 150 yards and almost 16,000. I feel like if he'd been totally bought in for a few seasons when he wasn't, I really think that he could have even been greater. But the dude, it's hard to deny what he did. He was stupid good. He had 9 seasons at 1,000 yards, and his last season he was only 17 yards away from a 10th season, which would put him in such rarefied air.
It would. He was so consistently great for so many teams.
He really was.
Quarterbacks. You got to consider that too.
He really was. And it wasn't just on the 49ers. He went to Philly, and I know he blew him up, but he was amazing that one season, and he missed games. And to come back on that, I think it was a broken ankle, to come back in that Super Bowl and to dominate. I know they didn't win the Super Bowl. Well, sure as heck wasn't his fault. Dude, his playoff production was mostly spectacular. He had a couple bad playoff games his first year in 96. In 01, he didn't do much. I don't know what happened there with Dallas later in his career, but in his prime, special. And then he went to Dallas and was still pretty darn good for them in his mid-30s, which is pretty impressive. At age 35, he still put up 1,000-yard. He turned 35 that season, 1,000 yards and 10 TDs. That's stuff we don't see nowadays. Like Devontae is going to turn 33 this season, and he's the oldest dude in the NFL at receiver, and he just got traded. It's unheard of for guys now to make it in their mid-30s. They just phase them out. It's really rare. Him and Mike Evans, I'm curious if they're going to go until they're 35, 36 and still be able to play. Because it's such a more – there's so much more running. It's such a more – weirdly, even though it's gotten less physical, I think because of the defensive players, it's more physical. So, yeah. Lots of thoughts there. But, all right. So, wait, did you give your 5? You did, right?
Yeah, no, I did. Number 5 was Raymond Berry, yeah.
Raymond Berry. Okay. I'm really curious to see your top 4. Who do you have at 4, man?
Larry Fitzgerald.
Good pick.
Please remember something else about this man. Only Kurt Warner was the only decent quarterback he ever had, and he didn't have him for long. No matter who had it, he could catch it. He had great hands, great speed. He is the second all-time receiving yards leader, 11-time Pro Bowl. I mean, he had people like Carson Palmer and people I've forgotten throw to him. Imagine if he had a quarterback who was even like Ken Anderson or Ken Stabler throwing to him. His numbers would be off the charts. He was an amazing player. I think better than Owens, there's only 3 better, but he was. I'd love to see him play in this era because I think Justin Jefferson and him would be a great match because they remind me a lot of each other. You like that pick, huh?
I do. I have him actually even higher.
I don't blame you.
His hands were special. I feel like with quarterback play, Med has made this argument. Here, I'll give you a little bit more of Med's list. I think you'll like it.
Sure.
Med had Owens at 6. So he had Hudson, Sharp, Warfield, Carter, Owens, Harrison, and then he had Randy Moss at 4. My number 4 is Calvin Johnson. I put him in the top. I put him above Terrell Owens because he was just the model of consistency for Detroit. I know he retired early. Good for him that he saved his body. Pulled a Barry Sanders. Nobody expected it. But what he did at his apex, that 1,900 yards, the only downside you could say on this guy is he didn't score as many touchdowns as you'd expect for somebody as talented as him and Whit Stafford. I'm surprised he wasn't able to get to 100 TDs. But in just 9 short seasons, to get over 11,000 yards and 80 touchdowns is ridiculous. He only missed 1,000 yards twice. What? And it wasn't just that in the postseason. That one game, he only got to play 2 playoff games, and one of them he had over 200. He had 211 yards, 12 catches, 2 TDs, and his team freaking lost. That shows you how bad of rosters this dude played with. Outside of, I mean, he had another receiver a couple of years, but it was just him and Stafford a lot of the time. They had no defense, no running game. The guy was one of the most physically dominant players I've ever seen at any position. He was so gifted.
Was fully concentrated. So 3 guys to cover him. They still couldn't most of the time. He was amazing.
Go watch the highlights. That's why I'm shocked he didn't get more touchdowns. It's kind of crazy. Like
exactly. I agree with you.
That 2012 season, he only had the one where he was 36 yards shy of 2,000. He only had 5 TDs. It's crazy.
That is crazy. He just didn't like throwing him into the end zone for some reason.
I know his career didn't last as long, but his stats still measure up to some of the best in only 9 years. So
I never see a 10 best list without him on it. I mean, he was just that great. Imagine if he played 14 or 13 years. One of those what ifs. It's amazing.
So I had him. So Med had Moss at 4, and then Med actually had him at number 3. Med had Megatron at 3. My number 3, I couldn't go any lower with this guy. I know he quit on the Raiders, but Randy Moss, I know he was kind of a one-trick pony, but that trick was one of the best tricks in NFL history. The fact that he had a game with 3 catches and 150 yards and 3 touchdowns, that's just stupid. That's stupid. What he did late in his career with New England, that was awesome. It helped really enhance his legacy. He actually still had over 1,000 yards 1 year with Oakland, even when he was quitting on that team. And he quit on the Vikings once. I don't like those things, but the talent is just, my gosh. 15,000 yards, 156 touchdowns. Only Jerry Rice has better numbers. And it wasn't just the deep threat. The dude was just absurdly talented. I wonder what he would do in this era now. I really do. So
I think a lot of him and Justin Jefferson. If it's I think Jefferson reminds me of Moss a lot. If you just show in 10 years, he'll be up there. I think Moss is even a little more impressive. I'll give you the reasons when I make my number 3 pick.
Who's yours?
Randy Moss. Now he had all the records except for Rice, and he had the 23 touchdowns 2007. If only David Tyree didn't have that hat-trick catch, we'd probably be talking about him a little differently. Not much. But because he was so amazing, he ran a 4.25 in the 40-yard dash. He used that to perfection. There was a saying in that during that time, I got mossed, and they said it over and over and over again. And Tennessee, actually, one of the biggest draft. It's laughable unless you're a Titans fan. Took Kevin Dyson, an unknown name, over him. But Moss, his touchdowns, his receptions, his consistency, his leaping ability, his speed. All of them were unparalleled. He was just amazing for his time. That was in NFL films. They took Harrison over Moss in the 2000s as the best receiver. I think we're smoking something. Moss was easily better, even though Harrison was good.
He had some ridiculous, and I'm happy he beat the cancer that he had last year. Looks like he did. He had a ridiculous amount of. I'm surprised he's only 6-time Pro Bowler. I don't know how to understand that because I'm looking at his not just pure stats, but he had 10 seasons of over 1,000 yards. Some of these seasons, I'm shocked he didn't make a Pro Bowl. It's crazy to me. But some of the receiving stats, though, some of the guys.
What if there's bias in those selections, Isaac?
Absolutely, but 23 touchdowns. That's a record, and 23 TDs in one season. Most touchdown reception by a rookie, 17, just took the league by storm. Dude was uncoverable. Most seasons with 17 or more TD receptions, he did that 3 times. 3. He did it in 98. He did it in 2003 on his way out of Minnesota. And then he went to New England and did it in his 30s. The guy, dude, it's just most seasons with 11 or more TD receptions, 8 tied with Jerry Rice. Most seasons with 10 or more TD receptions, 9 tied with Jerry Rice. It's him and Jerry Rice. But I did have another guy 1 notch higher because of his character and because of what he did with his team. So Med's number 3 was, hold up, Calvin Johnson. He had Randy Moss 4. I can't do that, but I know he believes in character heavily. So anybody in the comments, if you guys have thoughts on our list, we got over 100 people watching. I appreciate it. Before we keep going, I forgot to do this in the beginning, but I usually just do it on my Friday shows. But thank you to SportCoin, Undefeated Live, and PositionPicks.com for sponsoring the show. I've got a friend shout out I'll give next week. And some more stuff I'll shout out at the end here. All right. Number 2, Meds was Larry Fitzgerald. What was yours?
Don Hudson. I have a pack.
Nice.
I got to tell you why. If you just judge him for his time, 1 out of every 5 catches was a touchdown. He had a record of 99 touchdowns, which lasted 50, not 15, 50 years. Mm-hmm. He had records that were broken in 2017. We're talking about a guy that played in the 30s. He had 8 times he was the leader in pass receptions consecutively. That's been broken.
Mm-hmm.
But he had he had Babe Ruth, Wilt Chamberlain, Dan Marino, and Michael Jordan numbers back then. But you
Yes, he
wouldn't
did.
know that because they played 11 games. I think he was that dominant a player, one of the 10 greatest players of all time, in my opinion.
Oh, good pick. No, I wanted to go even higher with Hudson. I almost did. That's why I had to give him. I had to put him in my list. I actually had Larry Fitzgerald at number. I know he only had 120 TDs, but I had Fitz number 2. I wish I could have seen what this guy would have done with better QB play, and what he did with other than Kurt Warner, some pretty bad quarterback play for a lot of his career, was compile over 17,000 freaking yards. How many drop passes did he have in his whole career? Like 3?
So few.
I mean, the only knock on him is he wasn't a touchdown machine. He only his high was 13, but he still got up to 120. Was still solid late in his career. Was in his mid 30s. Was still putting up over 1,000 yards. Had a couple of down years in the early 2000s, but his QB play was so freaking atrocious after Kurt Warner left. I mean, the list of QBs this guy played with. He was Walter Payton Man of the Year once, 11-time Pro Bowler. People loved him because of his attitude. He was on the 2010s All-Decade Team, NFL 100th Anniversary All-Time Team, 2-time receiving touchdowns leader, even though he wasn't big on TDs, 2-time receptions leader, tons of records. He had over 90 receptions 8 times. 8 times. Dude had stickum on his hands.
Fred Blitnikoff and reincarnate, yes.
Yep. All right. We got to recap our lists. You ready?
Sure. You want to go first?
You can go ahead.
Sure. Number 10 is Steve Largent. Number 9 is Marvin Harrison Sr. Number 8 is Lance Allworth. Number 7 is Terrell Owens. Number 6 is Calvin Johnson. Number 5 is Raymond Berry. Number 4 is Larry Fitzgerald. 3 is Randy Moss. Number 2 is Don Hudson.
I like it. Okay, I'll give you guys Med's whole list, and then I'll give you mine. Med had Don Hudson, number 10. Number 9, Sterling Sharp. Number 8, Paul Warfield. Number 7, Chris Carter. Number 6, Terrell Owens. Number 5, Marvin Harrison Sr. Number 4, Randy Moss. Number 3, Calvin Johnson. Number 2, Larry Fitzgerald. And I mean, it's Jerry Rice. Do you have anybody other than Jerry Rice here?
No.
It's Jerry
Rice.
You're
talking about some people in the NFL top 100 players 2010. He was selected number 1. He had 22,895 yards, 1,549 catches, all totally unbreakable, 13-time Pro Bowl, 197 touchdowns. And talk about clutch. I remember against the Giants, Montana threw to him long. He got it. Against Cincinnati in an incredible strike season, we had 22 touchdowns and broke Mark Clayton's record. He had an amazing catch against them. He's also a great blocking receiver. People don't remember that, but he was. This man was from another universe. He is to receivers what Brady is to quarterbacks and Lawrence Taylor is to linebackers. It's not even a close call.
And the longevity was just absurd. He tore that ACL, and then you know what he did? He came back at age 36 years old. Let me make sure. Hold on, wait. I think his birthday was October, right? Yeah, he turned 36 that season, and he came back off an ACL. Who does this? And had over 1,000 yards in 1998 with the 49ers.
Clark Kent, maybe Jerry Rice. That's it.
and then he did it twice with the Raiders at age 39 and 40. Like, that's like LeBron stuff. That's like Tom Brady stuff. I mean, he's a receiver. To do that almost 20 years into his career, that's absurd. I know he didn't do it at 45, but who makes it to 40? Jerry Rice does. I don't think anybody's ever going to break these stats. Like, if you gave me the most unbreakable, the running back one I could see, like Emmitt Smith's, but I actually think Jerry Rice is, even though it's a passing era, I want to see somebody get over 20,000 receiving yards. They would need almost 3,000 more just to break Jerry Rice's record. Like, it's just not going to happen.
That and Brett Favre's starting record and Emmitt Smith's record are the 3 hardest to break. I think Rice's is the hardest to break. I agree with you.
I think so too, because I mean, you could give me the touchdowns as well. 197. Who's breaking that? Justin Jefferson would have to play this way without injury for 12 more years, or Jamar Chase 10 to 12 more years just to start approaching it. Like, that's like in the NBA, LeBron's points thing. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to do that because the dude's still averaging over 20 points a game, and he's about to turn 41, I believe, this season. And last year, he still averaged over. I know he's not the same player he was, but he's still averaging over 20.
He's
Kareem,
ageless. He's amazing.
Kareem wasn't even that good at 40. If you go back and look at Kareem stuff, the only dude that's played this well that late into his career is Tom Brady. That's it. There's nobody else on the list. Like Favre fell off right after he turned 40. Rodgers, I mean, he looks like a shell. Warren Moon had that one season at 42.
George Bland had a couple good years in his 40s. Not.
Yeah,
he did.
yeah. Well. Blanda's one of the only other guys I can think of into his 40s that did what Jerry Rice or like LeBron.
Oh, Nolan Ryan. I forgot Nolan Ryan.
Yeah. Baseball. That's true. I'm not a big baseball guy. I kind of forget about baseball, but yeah, no, you're right. No, there's some pitchers that made it to 40, but to still be a Pro Bowler at age 40 is just this guy, man.
Yes, I was watching in preparation, Izac, for the show when he was playing for Seattle at like 40 or 41. I don't know. I think it was 40. He had, how many yards he had compared to the other players, and he was nobody could guard him even then. He was amazing.
Yeah, he didn't have the best season in 04. He got traded to the Seahawks, but he still had over 300 yards with them in only 11 games, and that was at age 42. Who does that, man? That's crazy.
Old timers games. He's still dominating. He's
crazy,
great.
man.
I want to say something I like about him. He was one of the most humble players, like Barry Sanders. They were so humble. They didn't spike the ball; they just threw it to the ref, and that doesn't make you a better player. But I admire that about him.
And you nailed the clutch thing. He wasn't he? I think he was a Walter Payton Man of the Year once, right? Hold on.
I can't remember. It's possible.
No, he actually didn't get that, but he was never. The character was not a concern, but he won 3 Super Bowls, and the dude was clutch in '88 in the playoffs. His first Super Bowl, 3 playoff games, 409 yards, 6 touchdowns. I know the one argument I hear from people. The one argument I hear is that he had Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, and Steve Young. I get, and then Rich Gannon. He was spoiled at QB, kind of like I am. Like now, I'm dealing with Jordan Love after Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. It's a little like this guy's got a lot to prove. That's the one knock you could put on Rice, but it's not his fault that he had amazing quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
No, and even later for the 49ers, I think he had Jeff Garcia, didn't he? I mean, you can't call him a top-notch quarterback, but he still performed so well. After Steve Young.
Yeah. You're right. He had Garcia.
And Garcia's not even in Gannon's league, but he was still very good, but he's not. You're talking about the second greatest quarterback of all time and possibly one of the top 15 in Montana.
And Gannon had a special season that year, too.
He was MVP.
He was MVP. That was, yeah, man. I mean, I wonder how many MVPs. I need to look this up. How many MVPs, QBs did Jerry Rice play with? But it's not a knock. I mean, to do what that dude did, that shows you the maximum potential someone can get out of their body when you put everything to it and you have great quarterback play. Jerry Rice shows you, and he's one of the best players in NFL history. He's not my number one, but you could make an argument, and I wouldn't have much of a rebuttal. Like, I think Brady is, but non-QB, he's Lawrence Taylor.
I put Lawrence Taylor number one myself, but
I probably have
Brady or Rice.
You know, it'd be fun to do like a combined position list one year. That'd be cool. Like just a top 10 player list, regardless.
I'd love that.
We should do that next offseason. That'd be cool. I want to get like Med and JB or another dude and have a 4-way banner about it. I think that'd be fun.
Some of the picks will be similar and different when you talk about all the players who ever played. There was some so high up there, it's hard not to put them.
I think Walter Payton would make mine. I'd have Barry on mine if I had 2 running backs. I actually have Barry ahead of Walter, but I get the argument of Walter Payton. I'm trying to think of who QB.
I'll tell you 2 others. Jim Brown.
I think Brady.
You have to consider
Jim Brown. If you're thinking Joe Montana for quarterback and Brady running backs, I think it'd be those 3: Barry, Brown, and Walter Payton. And then you have Jerry Rice. That's the offense. I mean, dude, this would be tough because Lawrence Taylor is like by far away the best defensive player, but this would be a really, really difficult list to make.
It would be, but I'd enjoy it. And another player I'd consider, I'm not saying I'm having him on or giving away the ending. Anthony Munoz, a lineman. He was so dominant for his position.
That's true. You're
you
right.
Couldn't get by him.
You couldn't get by him. There was, I mean, like Reggie White deserves a mention.
Oh yeah,
I like
Ronnie Lott could be candidates.
I like Dion. I know he didn't tackle, but he was one of the best cover corners ever. You nailed it with Ronnie Lott, man. Absolutely. I don't think they're quite top 10, but Rod Woodson, Charles Woodson were special. There's so many.
I would put them in the top 10, but they were special.
There were so many. It like if we made it so you could only have 2 per position or something, that would make it even more interesting. But
the running backs would be very tough. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a special show tomorrow night because I will not be here on Friday. My brother's getting married. I have a fantasy football show. Yeah, I'm flying up to Washington State, so I will not be here this Friday. So that's why I'm doing 2 shows early this week. But I'm going to have Justin Herrera and Jeremy from FTN Fantasy on the same time tomorrow night. So I hope you guys come check it out. Mike, what you got going on? Anything coming up at all?
Nothing in particular, but I'm always open if anyone wants to be on their show. I'd love to be on.
I will try to send some guys your way. The only thing is I know, like, once the season starts, people want to talk, like, current stuff. So if you're up for it, let me know.
Thank you. Thank you, Isaac. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries, man. And I'll tell Med, I'm going to send him this. I'm hoping he's feeling better. But
hey, Med, if you're listening to watching, how you hope feeling better? How you doing?
Are you still doing your work with the South Florida Tribune? Sorry.
No.
Okay. No worries. Cool. Well, hey, man, it was really cool having you on. Yeah, we'll be doing this again. And everybody watching, I appreciate you guys. Please go subscribe to Fun Football Podcast. I'm going to put some clips of this up because this was a blast up on TikTok and YouTube. But, Mike, it's on YouTube now. And I've been doing this with all my shows. It'll be on Spotify. To be honest, it's not too late. I think I can get it up tonight. So it'll be on Spotify, and I'll shoot you the link on.
Thank you.
I'll shoot you the link in email. Okay.
Thank you, and long live Brady Perry.
Well, I guess that's. I dropped something off my table, but thanks, man. This was a lot of fun. Thank you to everybody watching. I will see you guys again tomorrow evening. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.